Hi guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another video on Conqueror's Blade. So, going back to an old classic that we've covered a lot already on this channel. No particularly good or logical reason to cover it again, because nothing has really radically changed with them, other than that they really seem to be falling in pretty well on the current meta, and actually are playing really nicely at the moment. And so, I just wanted to play them really, and so therefore I tried to justify making a video about them, and so therefore, here you are, stuck here watching them again. But come on, they're a fun unit to watch, fun unit to play anyway, so who doesn't enjoy a little bit of fortebraccios? So obviously the longest reach pike unit in the game, really obviously very effective against infantry, does have a bracing stun when you use it with the doctrine, which obviously makes it nice, and obviously very effective in the current sort of Keshig meta. Even though actually, as of recording this, we have gone through the Keshig sort of quote-unquote nerf, but it's not that big a nerf, and we're still seeing quite a lot of Keshig. Fair few armigers and things as well still kicking around, which means that these are still really an effective unit to kind of counter that. Lovely when you get a unit of Keshigs just go flying into the front of it. But elsewise, they're actually just a really nice hero killer. And they can be a really effective pushing unit because they've got quite a lot of options and quite a nice support unit as well. Nothing particularly radical I've got along the top line. In terms of doctrines, just going for the piercing damage. The bracing stun is obviously a really important one. The extra 100 damage while bracing. A little bit of extra damage to units and a little bit of piercing AP as well. There are other things you could drop on. No really point in really having the anti-cavalry stuff because they pretty much insta-kill cavalry if they run into them anyway. Beyond that, the charge isn't really very effective because it doesn't really do much with the unit. There is a polearm doctrine which gives them a little bit of extra piercing damage, I think, but I don't think really is particularly worth having, although I suppose you could probably replace this uncommon piercing doctrine with it, but nothing too much to worry about. The stun is really the only one that you really actually need for this unit to really work. So yeah, don't want to waffle too long, but you all know what this unit is about, so let's just hop into some games. See if we can get stuck in, kill a few heroes, flatten a few units, and maybe even get a bit of cav in the process. So we kick things off on Linwu Fortress. Just some real casual games here, to be honest. We're not really trying super hard. I really just enjoy playing these 40s, which as I said earlier, hence we're doing the video. Anyway, initially we move up just a block up the bottom of the stairs. And then it gives me time to kind of assess what we want to do. Have a quick little bill hook on them. And this glaive, for some reason, follows me down the stairs, which is fine by me. But, you know, with a unit of 40 here, I can just set them loose and then they all basically go in for the stab. Takes them a second or two to break formation and prepare to stab, but when they do, they slaughter heroes really very effectively. Solo heroes on a loose section of 40s really have a hard time surviving. But rest of the stuff wise, it's actually a lot up here. It's going to be very hard for me to get up at these stairs convincingly and get set up. And I really need team support to do it. And most of the team is actually on the other side, pushing up the back staircase. So I decide, well, if you can't beat them, join them. So I'm going to come around here and have a go from this side. And actually, the team is making a fairly convincing attempt at pushing this staircase. So I'm going to set up. Initially, I'm just trying to stay one or two men behind the team. We don't really go quite far enough up initially, so I redeploy into line, set myself a little bit further forwards, and we start to make contact. And you can see the damage numbers springing up now. I was just conscious of that friendly trebuchet. It was a little bit danger close. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get clipped by that from the side shots, but it wasn't, it was all good. And so we're picking kills up to 10 kills. They're just slowly sitting there stabbing away. Take a little damage, but really not too much. As we head towards 20 kills and just using them in support. Moving up with the team, bracing just one or two men behind the front line, and we can get damage in. Even very effective against those Reapers, you see, that was a full unit of Reapers, and we got, what, maybe 10 of them? Really quite effective against Reapers, so long as you've got just a unit in front, just so they don't actually hit you while you're in the brace. And we keep pushing forwards, quite effectively clear through the unit. Enemy hero drops in behind us, we just turn the unit on him and loose, and bang, he goes, he's down. And there we go, so we've cleared out the A point, and we can now start to cap out. I think that's really one of the ways I enjoy this unit, is using it as a support unit. You know, just taking it that little bit behind the team, bracing and just basically providing a lot of free damage. Look at these little pikemen should try and have a little pop at us, but yeah, that didn't really go very well for them. As we get up to 37 kills, So, I'm now thinking I really want to get to the supply point. I don't really know why I went this way. I have no logical justification. We just wanted to go the longer way. Maybe I just fancied a bit of a scenic tour of Linbu Fortress. But anyway, we start heading up to the supply point. Team is already there. The enemy didn't bother making a defense of it, which is fine. It's kind of one of those things. Sometimes teams defend it, sometimes not. But we start to push up, and we're really going to be pushing that final base point. We get the enemy javelins crop up on the top of that bit of stairs. So I knew they were going to throw at the supply point. So I just pushed the unit to the left a bit just to make sure they didn't get clipped by that throw. And they could start to get heal up. Unfortunately, I didn't notice the Outriders. God damn it. So now we're back to healing up again. We didn't really lose anyone, but still got a fair bit of healing to do. And then we can actually start to push up, because the team is pushing relatively hard towards the base. Yeah, we grab the unit back out. Starting to move up. Got some paladins here. Or men-at-arms, I think. Paladins. Yeah, paladins. And we get this unit of pike militia, which comes up in a bit of a strange spot. Not quite sure how they thought that was going to go. We brace initially, but then I just set them on loose. And actually, because their weapons are so long, they can really get stabbed in without taking any damage. If you look at their health, they basically take no return hits from the pike militia. And pike militia can be an effective unit, but on an elevation like that, it just doesn't work. But this is where things go wrong. I come back down, and unfortunately get an enemy unit of paladins, which just comes and flat out charges. Unfortunately, my Lockable is on cooldown, which is what makes it really difficult. If it hadn't have been, I could have got behind and been effective, but then the Iron Reaper charge comes in, and that is really what finishes me off. We go for the treb, try and get some extra hits in before I die, but unfortunately, a spear comes and puts me out of my misery. The treb seems to take ages to turn up as well, but there we go, got a few hits in the end. Okay, on to the second clip, and we're on to a little bit of Oldenburg, everyone's least favourite map, or at least one of mine anyway. Initially, push over to the B point, which the team has actually already captured. But they're starting to make a bit of a push down the stairs, and I'm initially interested. Go straight in, try and lock over that short sword, but the problem is, there's actually quite a lot of one range, and quite a lot of enemy units reinforcing the point, and as our team starts to pull back, I kind of think, I don't really want to be here. An unexposed, unshielded unit of fortebraccios even. But I do want to hold the top of the stairs, so I set myself up just here, kind of diagonal to it as these Reapers come up. And you can see we get quite a lot of hits on the Reapers and kill a few of them. It's always nice to kill a few Reapers. We have a little bit of a soiree with this musket, who eventually decides to fall off the tower. But ultimately, it has the same effect. We go back to covering, but by this point, I think the enemy have largely decided that they don't want to get involved. And that Nadachi also doesn't seem uber keen, because we've got enough team support to really probably CC him, so he's not going to get on all that well. So I decide, okay, we'll have a little treb on this lot, although annoyingly they move just as I treb. But really, I don't want to stay here. Time to move. Looks like a good chunk of the team is starting to set up for A, so let's go down that way. It wasn't a particularly great start. It wasn't even worse treb, to be honest, which didn't really hit all that much. But we've got to give it a go. But I think A is going to be the better option now. So that's why I'm heading down that way. Got some of the team down there at the bottom. So I pull up, come down this set of stairs. And I'll set up at the bottom here so we can get involved. I guess going with a hero initially against some more Iron Reapers. As we pull back and get charged by a unit of Selkamids. A fairly rare unit to see. And get attacked by this very successful yet annoying musket who shoots me, runs past in both directions and get out perfectly fine. But in muskets. Cover the top of the stairs, and then we get this unit of stalwarts. Kind of a tough one for me. You know, the stairs are almost as much of a problem as the stalwarts. And I'm not really going to be able to comfortably push into the front of them, you know, unless those axe raiders are charged in or something. We get a nice unit of grey hairs coming down, but then it all goes to pot as we get charged by a unit of claymores behind. Not very good that I didn't even see them coming, but not a massive problem for us to deal with. They go down really rather quickly. Cut them down. But in the meantime, that means the stalwarts that were facing us actually turned around to deal with another threat. And now they're not facing us anymore. Perfect. So we can now just push straight into the back. Well, nice just to lock a bit into the back of them, but we can also brace into the back of them and just set loose as we push through. And even grabs us a nice little hero kill. Now we push into the next big enemy block of all these Imperial shields. Another recently buffed unit that actually we really could do with visiting. But you can see the extra damage we do, picking up quite a few kills as we just push into the unit, cut them down fairly effectively with the fortebraccios. Pushing on to the point, looking for my next options. We are getting hit by some of these falconetti, but really I'm looking out for cav. I'm a little bit slow in recognising it, but I see it coming. We manage to get set up, stop the bulk of it, and then, a full stack of Keshig charges into the front of me. Glorious. And I think that may have even been the Keshig player we got the hero kill on, which is even better. So we got ourselves a second hero kill as well. We do slowly start to get withered away. I do my best to try and deal with some more of these Iron Reapers. They're just pretty everywhere. But eventually, we do get overwhelmed, unfortunately, and the rest of the unit dies. But not before we manage to just about get the A point. And that's ultimately what we were trying to do. It's just lovely when you get a full stack of Keshigs with your fortebraccios. But they are also just a really effective anti-infantry unit. And that is half of really what they're about. So, on to the final clip. And we're on the Viking map. The one that I can't say. Highlings Ford, something like that. And actually pushing the B point, which is kind of unusual. Now, I was really late in noticing this enemy cav coming on the outside, but I just saw them just on my mini-map. We were sort of able to get set up and braced. A lot of it got past, though, me and into the back, so I'm then just breaking into loose and just coming in behind to kind of do what we can just in a loose formation, pick up some of the stragglers. Because 40 still actually kill quite effectively loose cav. You just don't get the brace stun. So yeah, I was just kind of able to spot them on the minimap and avoid their charge. But still lost, maybe a third of the unit. But anyway, at least we got rid of them in the end. Shame they managed to get their charge in though. But now we're pushing down here, and actually we kind of realised that the bulk of the enemy team is on the B point. And actually they really don't have a lot on A. So let's start pushing that way. We initially go into these pikes here who charge in. We could just use them and then we can push forwards in loose. And then let's just make for A. Let's just go for it. There seems to be a bit of hesitation from the team, so I just go for a ping to say, come on, let's go for A. There's really not a lot there. And we get the rest of the team pushing up, which is perfect. Let's just go for it. Now, we do get these palace guards come over, which is initially concerning, but they kind of just brace, which was good for us, because that means I can push nice and close, and they can't hit me from there. I can then, just go in and lock at them, and as they turn around, we get the hits on them. Set the 40s just into a loose formation, and, we pretty well helped clear everything off the point, picking up quite a few kills, just on those palace guards and some of the other units in the fight. And now we can quite comfortably cap A. Now, I do make a slight mistake here. I braced too early, and, top kudos to that Keshig player. He realised and didn't just blindly still charge into the braced 40s. I should have just hung on another second or two without putting the pikes down, and then I think he would have probably committed to the charge and we could have probably wiped that whole unit. So I was kind of disappointed in myself there, but probably, 80% of the time, most Keshig players there would have just charged into the front anyway because they're too far committed. So it was a bit unlucky that we had a good player there to realise and pull back. Anyway, moving on forwards, we're heading up to the supply point. I just ignore that guy because I thought some of these, the rest of the Reapers and some of these Jav Sergeants were going to get away, and I'd rather try and get what we can of them. So we get in, get a few extra kills, and you're pulling the unit towards me obviously at the time, and they grab a little bit of stuff as well. Thought these Berserkers were just about to have a pop at me, but actually they end up just turning around to the left and pulling back, which is fine. They're more than welcome to do that. I then look to see if they need any help, but really they're going down already. So we just get back on the supply point that the team's just captured, and we can start to get ourselves a little bit better healed up for the next push up onto the C point, which is, I guess, where we're expecting the bulk of the enemy to be. The rest of the team pretty well is happy to come with me, so we're starting to push up this side path. I was initially thinking about we could throw a treb on the guy who's setting his artillery up on that little overwatch position, because they normally end up putting units of archers up there as well, so it can be quite a good spot for this sort of thing. But anyway, decided not to, and then as the rest of the team's just gone straight for it, I said, well, yeah, in we go, using the back embrace mode, and how quite effectively they pick up kills in this sort of situation. Really picking up quite a lot of damage. We do unfortunately get hit by a bit of Scorpio, but really not a problem for us. Another Iron Reapers have to quickly get braced. But again, showing how well these 40s deal with Iron Reapers. How quickly they go down. It's obviously a team doing damage as well, but really the damage is really very impressive against Reapers. It's one of the things that I've really learned about them over the past sort of, couple of days I've been playing them is their Reaper effectiveness. Anyway, pushing down onto the sea point, few enemies down here. Didn't go quite as well. These berserkers were a bit of a pain. I should have braced a second earlier. They got to me quicker than I thought, and that poleaxe annoyingly lockerbed me. Always hated poleaxe players. And it causes quite a lot of unit disruption. They don't get all that many kills on the unit, but they do a lot of damage to the group. And annoyingly, we don't even get the kill on that the Dachi, which I felt slightly cheated for. But anyway, we do get to clear the point, and there's actually no enemy heroes left, and we can just quite easily cap out now. So while we're capping this out, obviously, we're going to have to go to the supply point to heal. The unit's pretty badly damaged now. As I just replied to my friend to say hello, and then grab the horse and we go up and go on to the next supply point, which the team has kindly just captured. One set of healing later, we are pushing back towards the actual main base point. Most of the team has really just gone straight up, straight for it, and that really works for us. So I'm kind of pushing up, bringing the unit up, wait till they get braced, and then we can start to push into the fight. Quite a bit of stuff up here, but on both sides really, and that works well for us because we can get up, just brace into some of this stuff, and really start to pick up a lot of extra kills. Pick up kills really quickly, up to 100 kills now with this unit. We push into these unit of Imperial Shields. I can then just get behind. When you hit them from behind, of course, you cause a stun, so then they basically drop the shield and they get hit by the fortebraccio. So it's a way of both getting damage on them, but also doing more damage with the forties as well. I was kind of thinking we were going to get a little bit more cav than this. I was kind of hoping for a cav to charge into the front of the unit here, but it doesn't really happen, so it mostly just turns into an infantry fight. But we're just positioning around, using them against these claymores here on the side. Obviously got their buff on at the moment, which does make them a fair bit more tanky, but you can just see the sort of damage numbers we're getting on them, and we can do quite a lot. Throw a Trebin on some of the units at the back. Glad I didn't use it on that little bit of artillery that was going down on the sea point earlier on. And we can just keep clearing out the point. And it's amazing how many kills you can pick up with this unit when there's sort of people just walk into the front of the brace effectively. So to go into some of these pikes, start to pick up a few more kills, set them into loose as we push up. But unfortunately, there's one more set of Reapers that we just couldn't quite deal with, and they do just charge and smash into the front of the unit, and it is very effective, and unfortunately kills them off. But we do go on to actually win the game, so it's not all bad. Anyway, that's just been my couple of games that I've had with some of the forties. They are an enjoyable unit. You obviously sometimes lose them just completely out of position, but by and large I find they do perform really quite well in the current meta. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And of course, subscribe to the channel for lots more Conqueror's Blade content. Thanks for watching, guys, and I shall see you all on the next one.